All right, folks, welcome back to the TNT show. I hope everybody is prepared to bundle up because we got some we got some snow in the forecast for Friday. But you know, enough of me playing weather forecaster. We're gonna go ahead and jump into this episode. So this episode is a little different since the season is over with for both Alabama and LSU, which we're fans of. We're just gonna do a recap of the season and kind of see, what we think next season might look like. So um Tyler, I'll go ahead and, you want to say something, jump in, however you want to do it.
Yeah, so this episode is going to be just, kind of going over LSU and Alabama's 2024, season, and then kind of do a little bit of 2025, just kind of going through it. I guess we can start with LSU, that's fine. Yeah, so, 9-4, our losses were, again, first game out the gate, we lost again. That's 3 seasons in a row of first game losses. And that's kind of where that puts you in a bind, especially from this playoff perspective is, losing the first game, your margin of error is you can't really afford to lose too many more times. We also lost to Texas A&M, Alabama, and Florida. So, like we were saying offset, the Texas A&M game. All right, let me start with USC. Let me backtrack. USC, first game of the year. USC had a lot of, kind of high hopes. Miller Moss was supposed to be their guy. Had a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of hype, but he did have kind of, there were some talks of him being in the Heisman running at the beginning. But first game of the year, you take that one with a grain of salt. And then went on a big win streak, and then we lost 3 in a row. Texas A&M, we were dominating that game until they put in Marcel Reed. And then we had no answers. They scored every time they got the ball. And we just couldn't stop Marcel Reed. Alabama, again, we had 2 weeks to prepare for Alabama and still got destroyed. There's no excuses there. Florida, not going to make excuses there. I think we just caught, like you said, a hot Florida team. They were playing really good football at this point. But DJ Lagway was hurt in that game, so we should have beat them, but we didn't. But the same thing that was in 2023 and 2024, the defense still struggled. We struggled to stop the run. From a mobile quarterback perspective and running backs for some teams, had quite a bit of injuries. We lost Harold Perkins, which the defense actually got better when he got hurt, believe it or not. The defense it was better. There were times, like I said, the Ole Miss game where they played very well. And then there were times where when we played Alabama, we couldn't stop a cold. Couldn't stop anything. So, how do you, as I guess you would give me the non-biased answer, how did you look at LSU's 2024 season?
The way I looked at it was pretty much my prediction was right on par. They were going to lose about 4 games, maybe 3, possibly be a playoff team. Like you said, the defense was the main issue, and I think at some points it was the inconsistencies in the offense, along with
the
mistakes from Nussmeier, of course. But I mean, first year as a starter, so you're gonna run into stuff like that. Now, I think as far as, the season went, I think it was, like I said, pretty much on par for not necessarily what you would have expected. I think a lot of LSU fans were probably, disappointed in their season, but, just defense wasn't there still. So Um,
Yeah, and it's hard to replace 3 first round picks. I mean, we had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback
yeah.
and two, elite receivers that are playing at a high level in the NFL.
But I mean, to be fair though, y'all still ended the end of the season with what 9 wins, and y'all lost pretty much all of y'all's production offensively. So I think that's pretty encouraging. I mean, you're going into the
Yeah.
next season. But I'll let you get into the next season part. Um,
Yeah, as far as, one thing I want to see going in the next season is we have to establish a run game. It's it's like you said, when the inconsistencies were when Nuss was struggling or when the play broke down, when he panicked and would just roll out, I would just close my eyes because you never know what he's going to do. But that comes with the, as I call it, the gunslinger. You know, yes, people are mad that he's not running for first downs and not extending the play, but that's just not his game.
yeah,
Yeah, he can run, and he might run for a first down, but he's trying to make the play. He's trying to put the ball downfield.
absolutely,
Does it make me mad? Yeah. That he won't run for the first down? Yeah. It makes me mad. But he's trying to, make that big play. And maybe it'll transcend into next year of, okay, if it's not there, you know, let me just try to extend the play a little bit. But, I don't know. I'm not a coach. That's why I'm not a coach. Um, can he improve? Yeah, everybody can. One thing I want to see from him is, I would like to see him not stare down the receivers as much because I feel like in some of those losses that we had, especially when we played A&M, the defense caught on to what we were doing
yeah,
and kind of stopped it. We had an okay run game, but Caden Durham uh, broke his toe or foot or whatever, so he was not healthy, and that kind of hurt. But as far as next season, we brought in, we're bringing back Nussmeyer, obviously. Bringing back Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton Jr. We brought in from the transfer portal. We brought in, um, what's the dude's name from Kentucky? Barry and Brown,
yeah,
and Nick Anderson from Oklahoma, and the tight end from Oklahoma.
yeah.
I'm trying to look up the tight end's name. Can't think of his name right now. Bauer, I think that's his name. I'm not 100%
I mean, from the
on.
moves that I saw, I definitely I'm intrigued by LSU next season because they're definitely loading up. I mean, they know what they have in Nussmeier, and they said, "Hey, we're gonna go get you as many weapons as possible." Not to mention, Aaron Anderson coming back. Y'all pretty much unlocked his potential last season. So, as the number one guy, I think he's gonna be pretty nice. Um, like I said, just really for them, just really putting it all together. And obviously seeing that defense take that step forward, which they should, given the people that y'all are bringing in.
Yeah, especially from we brought in the quarterback from Mississippi State, so I'm intrigued to see kind of if he's going to take that role when Nussmeier leaves. Uh, I'm not sure how you pronounce this guy's first name, but his last name is Sharp, the tight end from Oklahoma.
Got you.
Bauer Sharp. I'm not sure. I might just butchered that, but I know the Nick Anderson and Barry and Brown from Oklahoma and Kentucky. They're nice. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
But we loaded up on the defensive side too. Like there, we got some. I wouldn't say big names, but we got a cornerback, the cornerback from Florida, Jakeem Jackson. He's pretty good. We got some. We got the edge rusher from Nebraska, Jamari Butler. We got what was that dude's name from Jack Pyburn from Florida.
Yeah.
The cornerback from Virginia Tech, Delane. The defensive tackle from Texas, Mitchell. Patrick Payton from Florida State. I think we're making some moves. Like I said to you, I think this is do or die. Brian Kelly is he's coming out swinging. We're spending some money. We're getting some players. I think the writing's on the wall for him. The seat's getting warm. It's make or break now. It's I'm not gonna say we're gonna win the national championship or nothing like that, but it needs to be we need to make a playoff this year.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
we come out the gate with a strong game against Clemson. And that's going to be a tough first game. So that's pretty much, I won't say the first game matters because you don't really know, but that could be a huge win. And that could be like a stepping stone to making the playoffs if we can beat Clemson. Because obviously they were a playoff team this year. So I know they're returning a lot of their starters. Their starting quarterbacks coming back. So the only thing that worries me is our offensive line. We're losing two All Americans. That's going to be tough.
That is
Losing
tough.
Will Campbell and Emory Jones those are big shoes to fill on the offensive lines. And Whit Weeks got hurt in the bowl game, so I'm hoping he should be back by next year. I wouldn't see why he wouldn't be, but yeah, we got pretty much the same schedule this year. Just we play Clemson first. So
So pre spring game, because obviously, we'll do another episode when spring games roll around.
yeah, I know we
Pre
got a
spring
lot of
game.
big recruits coming in. We got the number one running back coming in, Harlem Berry. Um, got some talent coming in, that's for sure. So, but
Based on the schedule, what do you think record wise? Just spitballing.
I'm gonna say, man, that's tough. I'm gonna say two losses. That's
What do you
how.
think
That's. I
those?
mean, because if you lose three, you're well. It depends. I'm gonna say the C like our like this is the best we can be. I'm gonna say two losses because I mean that we got a tough schedule.
So what's the worst?
I'm gonna say four.
So about the same.
I'm gonna say either we're gonna be like we were this year or we're gonna make the playoffs.
That's fair.
But there's
That's
some
fair.
teams that they got a lot of question marks. Ole Miss lost. Well, I don't know if he's got to go pro, but I would imagine Jackson Dart's going to go pro.
I think he has to.
Um, Georgia's losing their starting quarterback in Carson Beck. Texas is obviously going to roll Arch Manning. Oklahoma lost their quarterback. He went to Auburn. We don't play Auburn, but
Yeah, but they brought in the number one quarterback in the portal. So I think
but
they're actually okay.
Oklahoma lost their whole team. Their whole team hit the portal. LSU has two of their best players, and they're tied in, and Nick Anderson.
That's true, but I mean, good quarterback is,
But
a lot of
there's some good quarterbacks coming back. Ivy got another year. I'm not saying Vandy's going to be good, but I mean, they were pretty good. They beat the number one Alabama team.
yeah, they ended up being all right. I think
Yeah, I
maybe
mean they
they're
were
a
all
little
right.
bit. I think maybe they're a little bit better next season. Maybe, maybe.
But it's the Clemson game because if we lose that, that's one loss. But that's not an SEC loss though.
Uh, yeah. It depends on
There's just a lot of
honestly.
question marks. It's like we talked about this time last year. Can our defense get better?
I think that'll be the biggest difference in going into the next season because y'all actually added
Because
a lot of.
that was kind of our struggles when our offense struggled and our like literally if our defense struggled, Nussmeyer we had to score every time.
Yeah,
And if he made a mistake, the defense was sometimes it was there to bail us out. But I have high hopes. I don't want to be biased, but would I love for us to win the national championship? Well, of course. Who doesn't want their team to win the national championship? But I got to
yeah,
be I got to be a little realistic.
of course.
Um, but like you said, Nussmeier's coming back. So I mean, look at the jump Jaden Daniels did his second year, won the Heisman. Joe Burrow won the Heisman. Not saying Nussmeier's going to win it, but he could. I'm not going to say he can't
Yeah,
because he's going to throw for a lot of yards. He's going to throw for a
yeah,
lot of yards and probably a lot of touchdowns.
yeah. It's just his turn. He got to cut down on his turnovers.
I'm pretty sure he was like one of the best, in yardage and in touchdowns in the SEC, if I'm not mistaken.
He
Pretty
probably
sure he was
was.
up there. But yeah, it's the turnovers and the mistakes. But yeah, I'm gonna say I think we're gonna I think we can make a playoff. I think we're gonna kind of be like where Tennessee was. You know, Probably not gonna play for the SEC championship because honestly, I don't know if I want to play for it. Um, I think we'll kind of be probably about where Tennessee was.
That's fair. I
I'm
can
not
see
gonna
that
say we're
happening.
gonna win the SEC or nothing like that, but I think we'll be like I must say like a eighth, ninth seed somewhere in there.
That's fair. That's fair. Like I said, I can see that happening. We'll see.
But
Now,
let's talk about Alabama.
I mean, Alabama was definitely from a fan perspective. Obviously, you're disappointed because you anybody wants their team to be able to go to the playoffs, have a shot to win a national championship, like you said. Um, but for DeBoer's first season, um, I think it was pretty fair. I mean, 9 wins. Yeah, you didn't win the bowl game, but I mean that is what it is. Got to sweep that under the rug, move on to next season. Um, honestly, the offense in that pretty much the offense after the Vanderbilt game was just poor. In all honesty, there was just really nothing outside of if we couldn't run the ball with Jalen Milroe, then we couldn't really do anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, defensively, I think defensively they were only allowing 17 and a half points per game. So from that aspect, I think Kane Womack had a great first season. I mean, obviously there were some points like the Vandy game where they couldn't stop Vandy and the Oklahoma game where they couldn't stop Oklahoma, where you were just head scratching thinking like, what's going on here? But if you look at
It
the season
happens.
as a whole, yeah, it's stuff like that's going to happen. If you look at the season as a whole, only giving up 17 and a half points per game in the SEC, like that's pretty big for a first year coach that's not coached in the SEC.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, uh, I mean, like I said, obviously as a fan, you're disappointed, but from my aspect, I think he had a great first season. He was just under a different kind of microscope because you're coming over and taking over an illustrious program, basically, who just came off of a playoff loss in a tough fashion. So people are looking at you to pick up where they left off, which you can't just. He
Yeah.
basically
That's
had to
easier
deal
said
with,
than done.
yeah, he basically had to deal with a lot of unrealistic expectations from a lot of these fans. Everybody
Yeah,
every
for
other
sure.
week is calling for this man to be fired and this, that, and the third. Like, cut this man some slack. I mean, he got nine
Yeah,
wins.
the board's got some big shoes to fill, and for me. I'm not an Alabama fan, but that's that's a lot to ask, and that's not fair. Like that's you're trying to replace the greatest college football coach in history. That's just not gonna happen.
Exactly.
Not right off the bat. I mean, you lost what 4 games, right? 4 games,
Yeah, four.
and people are acting like that's the end of the world. But in reality, that's what every other. That's what us fans have been dealing with for the last 20 years of Alabama being just a dominant team. Now
Exactly.
you're kind of coming back down to reality of okay, this is what it's like to not win national championships and not go to the playoffs and not being in the spotlight. That they get a taste of it, and people don't like that. But at the end of the day, it takes time. I mean, it's like you said, Kalen DeBoer was just in the national championship 2 years ago. Sure, he got clobbered by Georgia. Sure,
Or you mean Michigan last year?
Michigan. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure,
he's
they got beat by Michigan. Sure, but Michigan was just that's it happens.
so
They just unfortunately had to go face a really tough Michigan team that was couldn't nobody stop them. Half their team went to the NFL,
true.
so it happens. I
Um,
say I think if you give that now you got to give the board time because Milroe was not his quarterback. This year will really be what can DeBoer do to make the jump the can he change things? This is where you're going to see it. But at the end of the day, it's Alabama. People want to come play.
yeah, I mean, so with some points that I wanna talk about is number one, uh, Ryan Grubb was just let go from Seattle. He was the original coordinator for Alabama before he accepted the NFL position. So I think the first thing that's on that agenda is if he's not accepting another NFL position, you need to go and get him back in there.
Yeah.
Transfer portal wise, they brought in like some really. It's been mainly defense from what I've seen. They got one receiver, Isaiah Horton from Miami, big body, 6'4", good catch radius. People are raving about him. And there was Kelby Collins from Florida, edge rusher, which I think is big time because they really need some, I guess, more rotational guys off the edge. Um, they brought in Calhoun from Utah, who was pretty much well, not highly sought after, but he's going to be a really good rotational player, maybe even a starter for them on defense.
Yeah, that kid from
Uh,
Florida's good. That dude from
yeah,
Florida, he's good.
I know they brought in a couple of offensive tackles, one from Texas A&M and one forget what school it was, but I know for sure they got commitments from two offensive tackles. Um, they got
Was it
the
Colorado?
no. I know for sure one of them was Texas A&M. I forget the other school, but it wasn't like a big time school. But apparently the guy's supposed to be pretty good offensive tackle. I can't say his last name. I'm not gonna embarrass myself like that.
What about from
Who?
the QB room? Like, I don't know where, I don't know what Alabama's leaning, obviously, but I would assume Ty Simpson, right?
Yeah, everybody's assuming Ty Simpson, but the quarterback room is basically wide open.
It's
It's
wide
gonna
open.
be a
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's
yeah,
gonna be a battle.
Milroe was. I I don't know.
We'll see. I don't know.
Who would you like to see?
I mean, obviously Todd Simpson has the most experience within the system. Like obviously him and Austin Mack are familiar with the system. With Austin Mack coming from, you know, from Washington. He's already super familiar with it. But again, Ty Simpson is kind of the incumbent starter in a sense because he was a backup last year. He was getting all the reps as the two. So you would expect it's going to be him. But I mean, everybody's hyping up Keelan Russell a lot. So if he comes in and makes it a battle, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, it's like you said. I don't know because I feel like it would probably be Ty Simpson just because he was kind of taking the backup role.
Yeah. So
But then again, like you said, it's wide open. You have no idea of um what's what's happening. But yeah, y'all did
yeah,
sign. I'm looking. Y'all did sign some pretty good players.
yeah. Now I think too. Like I said, the biggest thing on the agenda is getting Ryan Grubb in there because that's going to help out the offense like a lot. No disrespect to Nick Sheridan, but it just offensively it was not there, and I'm not putting it on him. I think it's uh it's it's a lot of pieces that go with that because I mean obviously you got the plays, but then the players have to execute the plays. Were the plays always executed? No. Were some of the play calls questionable? Yes. So it kind of goes both ways.
What's your
Um,
expectations, floor and ceiling?
Floor, I'll probably say about the same, 3 or 4 losses. Ceiling, I'm gonna say maybe 1 loss and conference championship, go to the playoffs. That's the ceiling. Um, Obviously, I'm not gonna say national championship because I think
Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah,
that field is still gonna be tough next year.
yeah, especially in the SEC. Like it's going to be battles every week.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, that's what my expectations would be for next season. Floor and ceiling. I think they'll be really good. Obviously, you got a lot of guys returning for the defense. Damani Jackson's coming back, solid corner. You got Deontay Lawson coming back. Justin Jefferson got an extra year with the new JUCO rule. Tim Keenan, a very nice interior defensive lineman. He's coming back too. So with a lot of these guys coming back and then the additions that they're bringing in, that defense should be very, very solid next season. I think the biggest question mark, again, like we both stated, is going to be the offense. Like, what is it going to look like? Who's going to be the
Oh,
quarterback?
are you talking about the tackle from where?
Yeah,
Who
that
who is from
it's his
Ball
name's like,
State?
yeah, that guy. Yeah,
Acral Angung? I don't know
I
if
think
that's how you
it's a
pronounce it.
Nungwam or something like it's
Yeah, something
something.
like that.
Yeah,
Who talk? This dude's huge. Yeah.
oh yeah, he's a beast.
So, but y'all. I wouldn't say y'all have lost big people in the portal, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, they only lost one starter to the portal, and that was Devontae Smith. Other than that,
But I say
everybody
Kendrick
else,
Law went to Kentucky. Prentice went to Baylor. Justice Haynes went to Michigan. But other than that,
yeah, I mean, like I said, Justice Haynes was on limited carries. Why? I don't know. I hate to see him go, but I wish him the best. Kobe Prentice and Kendrick Law, again, I would have loved to see them get more touches within the offense, but I mean, you got to go where you're going to be featured. And they just
yeah,
were not featured
yeah. I
within
know
that
Smith.
offense.
Smith went to Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like that, hey, that's probably a good move for him. So
Yeah,
it is where it is. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have for Bama until I guess, spring, more news comes out about who's signing where, yada, yada, yada.
yeah. I know LSU. like I said, we're definitely been spending some money. They are trying to. They're trying to load up. I mean, the writing's on the wall pretty much. I mean,
for
definitely
sure.
got a bunch of wide receivers,
Yeah,
a bunch of defensive players. You know, got the tight end from Oklahoma, like I said, losing Mason Taylor, so that's huge. He's probably one of the best tight ends we've ever had.
yeah.
Again, we lost. I wouldn't say big names, um, but you know they were starters. Sage Ryan went to Ole Miss, but Pimpton went to TCU. He didn't really play much because that tight end we got, Trey Green, he's going to be a monster. He's 6'7", like 260 pounds. He's going to be a red zone nightmare.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be insane.
I mean, he scored. I mean, it's a bowl game, but he scored twice and it untouched. Like you're not going to out jump him. He's 6'7".
True.
But as far as that, I mean, we really didn't lose like just anybody outstanding. CJ Daniels, well, he was okay. He just really got hurt. Went to Miami. Deshaun Womack went to Ole Miss, and then Ricky Collins went to Syracuse. But I mean, other than that, I mean, we're returning a lot. We were a young team, so I think. Do I think Brian Kelly's going to get fired? That's tough to say. I don't know. He'd have to lose like 6 games.
Yeah, I was gonna say he'd have to have a really bad season for y'all to consider letting him go.
I mean, it would depend. Like, was this year great? No, but it could have been worse. I mean,
True. Yeah.
we beat some good teams. We beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat Georgia.
Yeah. It's just that little. It's just that 3 game losing streak definitely hurt.
Yeah, we fell off right there.
Yeah, the wheels came off.
We lost A&M, and then that killed everything we had.
Yeah,
Because I'm not gonna make like I said, I'm not gonna make excuses. But if they wouldn't have put Marcel Reed in, we would have blown Texas A&M out.
yeah. No, they were struggling bad.
So Connor Wingman, he entered the portal. I don't know where he went. Do you know where he went?
I forget exactly where he went. No, I
I don't
can't. I
remember where
can't
he went.
recall.
But you know,
I think it was
do
Houston.
do I have high hopes? No, because I try not to do that. Would I love for us to win the national championship? Like I said, of course. Who doesn't? I just want to see improvement. I want to see a playoff, just a playoff push. I don't care if we get beat first round.
You just want to get in there.
I just want to get in there. I want Brian Kelly to show like, okay, we brought you here for a reason. You took Notre Dame to the playoffs. Sure, you got smacked when you got there. But I mean, look at Notre Dame now. They're pushing for a national championship.
It's true.
So is Brian Kelly the problem? I think you'll see this year. I think if he doesn't at least get us to the playoffs this year, his seat will be hot. I don't think they'll fire him like in the middle of the season. They're not going to do that unless we just lose like 5 games. We go 0-5 or something like that, kind of like Florida State did. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
I mean,
after this year will be the deciding factor. But you fire him, who you gonna bring in? I mean, you got to think about that too. And his buyout's pretty big.
yeah. It's not like the coaching market is just filled with high profile people.
Yeah, and Brian Kelly is a pretty good recruiter. You can obviously you can tell. Well, now money talks, but
Yeah. The whole recruiting thing, as good of a recruiter as you are, I think that's kind of out the window now just because of the whole money aspect.
yeah, it's I don't care about that. How much money are you going to give me?
I think it still plays a factor because obviously we're speaking on the outside looking in, so we don't know what they're saying in these recruits' homes and stuff. So who knows?
I
It's
mean,
hard
I'm
to say.
sure. Well, I mean, okay, I don't want to be biased, but if you go to Alabama and LSU and you're good, you're getting drafted. The writing's on the wall. I mean, you can go through the last. I mean, I don't even. You can go back the last probably 10 years. I don't know if either team has never had a first round pick.
Yeah.
At least not somebody. I mean, in the last couple years, we've had top 10 picks, first round picks. So, and that goes for Alabama too.
Yeah, I mean, it's talent. If the talent is there, it's just it's just there. I mean, you're pretty much progressing these kids' talent and helping them get to that next level. So yeah, they're great when they come in, but
Because
there's another level.
imagine the way I'd look at it. Okay, say Ball State gave you $5 million. Just say $5 million a year. Would you rather go to Ball State or go to LSU where you can, showcase what you can do?
I mean, of course you're gonna go to LSU. It's a better opportunity.
Or Alabama or whoever. It's just the showcase that you can put on. Now, I mean, certain people, Travis Hunter's a prime example. He could have went anywhere. He chose Jackson State, and now Colorado,
Not
and he's
having.
going to be a top 5 pick.
Yeah. But again, like I said, talent is
If you
talent no
if
matter
you can
what.
play, if you can play, you can play.
Yeah.
So technically, Shador has another year, right? Jackson State's a JUCO, right? Or no?
No, they're not.
Okay, I didn't know. No, they're no, they're actually. I don't even know why I said that. Do you agree with that?
The JUCO rule?
Yeah, that they get another year. Do you think that's fair?
Uh I mean, with JUCO only being 2 years, I mean, in most cases, I don't really see anything wrong with it. Um, I think there's
Now,
both
them
good.
not getting, they don't get paid. That's the whole argument, right?
I don't even know what the argument
Or is
is.
it
I don't
the
even know.
eligibility thing?
I think it's just the eligibility thing because they don't really get as much time to really showcase. Because obviously, if you got to go the JUCO route, that means you lose 2 years of your eligibility, and then you only have a year or two to really go and prove yourself. Which in some cases, somebody might need an extra year, like Pavia, for example. He probably just wants to prove like this year for him wasn't just like a
It wasn't a fluke.
yeah,
Like he actually is good.
yeah.
Do you think he stays at under, or do you think he stays at Vandy?
Of course he's gonna stay at Vandy.
Okay, didn't know. I didn't know if it worked like that. Like he had to stay at Vandy.
I don't know.
Will he get drafted high? Probably not, because Vandy's just not going to be. I mean, well, I don't know. They beat Alabama. I don't know.
Yeah,
They hung in there with some of the best teams. They hung in there with Texas. They hung in there with some pretty good teams, but yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got as of right now. Like you said, springtime. We'll do a little bit deeper dive. It's end of the season. We won our bowl game. I liked what I seen offensively. I really liked what I seen, especially from some players that I expect to have a pretty big season next year.
I'm gonna be quiet about Alabama's ball game. I'm gonna just be quiet.
So, uh, does it matter that you lost?
Not really.
Kind of. Not really. Did they need to lose? Not really, because that kind of looks bad, but it's a bowl game. Who
Yeah,
cares? Does it matter? Not really. Because, people entered the portal. did Milrow care? I'm sure he wanted to win his last game in Alabama, but
Of
it is
course.
what it is. But
I
you know,
mean, just to say it out loud for all the
my
people who
biggest
were,
thing, my biggest takeaway from that is why didn't they play Ty Simpson or play somebody? Is it
I
just they
just
just wanted Milrow to go out on top, or
he just wanted Milrow to ride it out. I guess I don't. I like I said, I can't say I don't know. But like I said, for all the people who was down in this man and taking all these shots at him and this, that, and the third, like when he goes to the league, I'm not saying he's gonna do it instantly or whenever he gets his shot and he starts balling out. For the same people who was talking down on him, don't try to jump on the bandwagon saying, "Oh, well, he's built by Bama and this, that, and the third," because y'all were the same people who was saying, "I'm so glad he's gone and he's not gonna make it in the NFL" and all this other type of stuff.
yeah,
So
or you can
just
get his autograph when he's bagging groceries at Kroger, whichever one happens first. I don't know.
that's crazy.
Nah, he'll be fine. He may not be a quarterback, but just have to wait and see. You know, they said the same thing about Lamar. Look at him.
Yep. But
Just
the
threw for what, 4,000 yards, had 1,000 yards on the ground, 40 touchdowns,
MV3.
and what, like 4 picks?
MV3.
That's pretty good. Yeah, he's a 2-time MVP.
So just a
So,
quick look ahead. We got the playoffs this weekend. So our NFL episode this week is actually a recap, from the final week. And, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the NFL playoffs. It's here. So
yep. Yeah,
looking
that'd be a
forward
good
to
episode
it.
tomorrow. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for us here today. As always, we just appreciate everybody who listens. Feel free to like, comment, share, follow us on all our social medias and things. But yeah, that's it for this episode, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.